Wrestling Unrestricted, AEW Unrestricted, the official podcast of All Elite Wrestling, presented by Upper Deck. Collect your favorite wrestlers in the 2024 Upper Deck AEW and start your trading card collection today. You can unwrap autograph, memorabilia, premium tech inserts. Visit upperdeck.com to learn more. And I am very excited because we are in the middle of the holiday season. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays to you, Will. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I am getting through what we like to call Mariah Carey season. And
that's right. That's right. This is where we differ.
Through it, yes. By getting through it, I mean making everyone else suffer through it.
Yes, that's me.
I don't consider it suffering though. It is the season. It is the reason for the season, as they say. But yeah, so I am. Yeah, that's the reason. They named it Merry Christmas is because of the initials. I don't know if you knew this, but the initials MC coincide with Mariah Carey. That's actually where it all comes from.
Fun fact. Okay, yeah. Cool.
But no, honestly, it's been a great time, and getting to get all my shopping done, and my kids are getting just like right out of like the age where it's fun, and so I'm feeling like we're like approaching those last few years. So I'm trying to take in as much of that as I can. How has your holiday season been?
My holiday is great. Super convenient that Dynamite, Collision, and the ROH pay-per-view were all at the Manhattan Center at the historic Hammerstein Ballroom because I celebrated up until New Year's Eve with my in-laws and then quickly flew back home and celebrated Christmas with my family right before I'm about to fly out to World's End. So it's been a very busy holiday season.
It is. And but we had a very busy year here, didn't we?
We did. It was a really good year. It was very memorable. So many memorable moments. I mean, we've got so much to talk about, and that's sort of what this podcast is here for today, is that we want to relive a lot of those really amazing moments and those amazing interviews about those moments that happened this year on AEW Unrestricted. We've got amazing clips today. We've got Deonna Purrazzo, who I actually have a card here for, who made her AEW debut at the first Dynamite of 2024 in her hometown of New Jersey, where we just were for Full Gear. We had Adam Copeland, who was in the middle of his TNT Championship run before he was sidelined with an injury. And former two-time AEW International Champion Will Ospreay. I was not lucky enough to pull an Ospreay card. Did you get one?
I didn't get an Ospreay card, no.
Oh, sorry. He's too busy off doing bangers anyway. And of course, we talk about Sting's retirement, which happened right after he and Darby Allin successfully defended the AEW tag team titles at Revolution. So I think it's best that we just kick it off. Let's go into all of these fun moments that we had.
And we're going to begin with a conversation with the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, that we had earlier this year on AEW Unrestricted going into Revolution.
Fans will, at the end of the day, end this pay-per-view thinking about this being Sting's last match, right? This is historic, right? And Sting's impact on this industry is just incredible. And not just from a wrestling perspective, but just from a leadership perspective and in the way that he carries himself and the way that people look up to him and they'd be like, I aspire to be more like Sting than like a lot of the predecessors of, the leaders in wrestling of bygone years, right? So, and that deserves to be the thing that people talk the most about.
On the other side of this pay-per-view card, another guy that you have a lot of history with in your career is the Icon Sting, who, of course, is wrestling his last match here at Revolution, a match we're going to talk about here shortly. But I wanted to ask you about your history with Sting and your memories with Sting and even tagging with Sting. What has Sting meant to your career? And how are you feeling about this being on the card, having the world title match on a card as important as this is, with this being Sting's last match?
You know, I think when you talk about Sting and the wonderful relationship that I've had with him throughout my career. I mean, he's been a nemesis. He's been a friend. He's been a tag team partner. You know, he's been the man who's won a championship from me. You know, he's been so many things throughout my life and my career. And, one of the biggest things is he's been a sage voice in chaotic times. He's been somebody who's been able to speak a little calmness into a very bad situation and help a young up and coming pro wrestler out. So of the many things he's been to me in my career, I mean, those are definitely the few examples that definitely stick out in my head. And man, for an illustrious career as he's had, you know, it's a quarter of that career I can only wish on to my my biggest most favorite person. So you know, Sting has definitely left an indelible impression on the industry, and I think that so much has been influenced by him, his style, what he's done, and what he's represented in the ring. And to see him, you know, finish up his career in AEW, it's bittersweet. It's a little bit sad, but at the same time, no one deserves a send off of the highest magnitude as the Stinger does.
So we had that awesome conversation with Samoa Joe, who had a long history with Sting, and man, Revolution was just such a great show. But I mean,
what a night.
We kind of have to go back to beginning of the year, which I'm so excited about. We had this awesome conversation with Deonna Purrazzo, the Virtuosa, who's now tagging with Ty Valkyrie. So let's go back to that conversation we had with her.
And I am very pleased to welcome this guest. She just recently made her debut in AEW and recently just found out what the difference between a debut and an arrival is. It's the one and only Deonna Purrazzo. Deonna, thank you for being here on AEW Unrestricted.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so I need to know what's the difference between a debut and an arrival, because I don't know either.
No, so it's official terminology. A debut represents your first in-ring appearance, as in once you've competed in action. An arrival is when you've stepped into the arena, you've arrived on the scene. You know, so for example, what happened with Deonna and Mariah May, that was Deonna's arrival in AEW, but her debut in AEW was her match with Red Velvet, and so those are two distinct terms that we very much use when putting the show together, and you got to do both in a very short amount of time. What was that like?
Yeah, I feel like the last two and a half weeks have just been crazy, but in such a good way. You know, like I am just trying to learn like a new system, how to be on the road. You know, every week. This is something I've not ever done. So I'm just trying to like adjust and like figure out my sleep schedule and a packing schedule, and also like when do I see my husband and my dogs and those kinds of things. So, but it's been great, and it's honestly it was a dream come true to be able to debut or arrive in Newark with my family and all the things. It was really just more than I could have ever imagined.
I want to talk about that night specifically. So, of course, it was the first Dynamite of 2024. We were in the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey, and you surprised the world arriving in AEW. Let's talk about, one, how difficult was it to keep that a surprise? Who exactly knew about that?
Honestly, it was not very difficult because it was so last minute. Like, I got a phone call to, would you come to Newark on Tuesday night? So I only had like 24 hours to keep a secret, and the only people that knew, the only people that knew were my husband, because he was going to come with me, my dad and my stepmom and my in-laws who were going to come to the show, and like Britt Baker, obviously, Chelsea Green, my two best friends, and I didn't tell anyone else.
Yeah, you and I had talked the night before, and mostly about getting your theme music together. That was everything that we kind of. I connected you with Mikey Ruckus, and it was like, okay, let's get this together. Let's make sure that this is something that is befitting of the Virtuosa, and you know, honestly, if I remember correctly, you didn't even get to hear it until that day, until Wednesday.
Yeah, at 4 or 5 o'clock. And we made some small tweaks, and it was just like, I don't even know what it's going to sound like in an arena. I don't know, like, at what cue do I enter? Like, nothing. It was all just such a whirlwind of those 24 hours that everything happened last minute.
Oh, that's so great.
I love that it's like winging it, the AEW story. Like,
well,
there's so much stuff that we're just like, hey, let's just do it.
It was very much one of those things where, even from a creative standpoint, you want to play it as close to the chest as possible. And, a lot of those things can happen in a way where very few people, including people involved, are told. And so, but it was great. It was such a great moment. And the crowd gave you so much in that moment. Tell me about that feeling.
Yeah. After the fact, I realized that I've never even had a promo segment or anything like that in front of that amount of people. So that was a first for me. And I feel like I'm a very emotional person, particularly for wrestling, not for very much else in my life, but for wrestling, it's just, I've wanted to do this since I was a little kid. So everything is like, this is a dream come true. And to be in, and when I talked to Tony Khan, I was like, I don't know if you know, but I'm from New Jersey. The first Dynamite of the new year is in New Jersey. And I'm just throwing this out there that that's a dream come true. So yeah, it was just like a whirlwind of emotions. And then I get the crowd reacts and I'm like, oh God, okay, that was good. They know it's me. They're excited for me. Good. And then I get in the ring and my dad and all my parents, but my dad specifically was front row at the hard cam. And I see his big head, literally the first thing I see when I get in the ring. And I'm like, don't you can't cry in the ring, Deonna. You have to get a promo in 2 seconds. So that really got me. And I was so thankful that as soon as Renee started to speak, the crowd chanted my name because it just gave me a second to recollect myself and not literally be crying on the microphone.
My favorite part of that is you're at the Prudential Center, which is this huge building with thousands of people. But then as soon as you see one person, it's just all of a sudden oh my God, I you just freeze up or get really nervous. It doesn't matter before that moment, but the moment you see someone you're just like, oh God, this is terrifying. But you totally nailed it. It was incredible.
Thank
Bryan
you.
has this match. You come in totally badass, just hey, I'm here. I'm coming after Tony. This is just an incredible moment. And I'm really happy you're here because I have loved watching your career. We worked a little bit, I think, in 2018. I didn't get a chance to really work with you too much. And I'm super excited to get to work with you. Yay, selfishly.
I am too.
Yay. But you've been killing it over at Impact / TNA, whatever they are now. You were 3-time Impact Knockout champion. You were the Impact Knockouts World Tag Team Champion, among other things. We'll talk about all this. You've had an incredible run so far. So what's sort of been the biggest difference? I know you mentioned travel, when you're going to see your dogs and husband, but what have you noticed so far has been the biggest difference coming to AEW?
I really just think it's the scale of the company. At Impact, it was Impact when I was there. It's officially TNA now, but it's such a, I don't want to say it's a skeleton crew, but it is. Everyone has multiple jobs. We're in smaller venues. There's smaller crowds. If I need to fix my travel, there's one person who does that. If I need comp tickets for my family, there's one person who does that. And I think just adjusting to not knowing who is in what department and who to go to for whatever question I have, and just the scale of the production here at AEW is been such the difference for me.
Oh, that's I actually, thinking about that, I can imagine that is almost a tad bit daunting because prior to Impact, of course, you were also in WWE. You were in NXT for a number of years, and you had a brief main roster run, but it wasn't necessarily because during the pandemic, right?
Yes.
So it didn't. You didn't necessarily get the crowd scale per se. It was still all at the Performance Center, so it was almost not much of a move at all, right?
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was weird because it was am I being called up? Am I not being called up? No one kind of knew, and I would just get a flight to Raw and then not go for another 3 weeks and then get another flight to Raw. So I at that point, especially being primarily in the Performance Center for the whole 2 years I was there, and just little live events that have a couple hundred people, this is really, like I said, the first time that I'm going out there and there's thousands of people in the crowd consistently. And, again, just for them to recognize me, and especially being the first Dynamite of the new year, there's been so many talks about free agents and who it could have been. And just for them to be like, it's Deonna, and be as excited as they were, kind of was like the cherry on top of like, okay, this is all paid off. They know who I am. We're good.
Coming up on AEW Unrestricted's Best of 2024, we've got Adam Copeland and Will Ospreay. Great conversations we had earlier this year. And are you an AEW insider? If not, now's the time. Get early access to ticket pre-sales, special merchandise offers, and more straight to your inbox. Sign up today at AEWTix.com. That's AEWTIX.com. Hey, Aubrey, do you know who our guest is today?
I think I know him.
Well, you should, Aubrey, because he is the one, the only, the rated R superstar, Adam Copeland. Adam,
Yay.
Thank you for finally being here on AEW Unrestricted. It's great to have you.
I know. I felt like you finally got me with like the Wonder Woman lasso of truth, and you hauled me in for this. And no, I'm just joking. It's been nuts, but we're getting it done.
We're getting it.
Yeah, look, okay, I have to say, I have watched your entire career. I probably know it fairly well at this point. And so I don't even know where exactly I want to start, because it's like I could easily start with the AEW stuff, but I'm like, but there's like 10,000 questions I've probably always wanted to ask you. So I do want to start AEW wise.
All right.
I want to start at Wrestle Dream Seattle, because that was a moment. That was something that I think everybody was looking forward to, was excited for. It was one of those things where, like, I think most like astute fans knew that like Metalingus wasn't a song that was exclusive to one location.
Sure.
But it still felt surreal to hear it anywhere but where we've heard it before. And all of a sudden it's like, here's Adam Copeland. But it's Adam Copeland exactly as we know him. We don't have to make any concessions here. Here he is. And what was that moment like? How did that feel coming through that curtain?
I mean, it felt really good. It was strange, for sure. I mean, it was all very new to me because I've been used to one thing for so long. So it was nice to be able to bring Metalingus with me, just to have that little bit of familiar, easy for me to say, something familiar. Marbles in my mouth. So that was cool. And luckily being friends with Alter Bridge and those guys, you know, anytime I've called, they're like, yeah, sure, just take it. And that song, actually, I've always felt the lyrics meant something, and there's something I could relate to. So that was huge. It was a crazy day. You know, I'd been kind of sequestered out in Everett, just kind of hiding out, just getting DoorDash and just waiting, you know, wanting to get moving on it. You know, I had flown in and met up with Darby, and we just, with Giancarlo, we just started guerrilla filming this idea, this treatment that I had. And I had heard Darby was the guy for that. So I just cold called him, said, hey, Darb, man, nice to meet you. I'm coming to the company, and can you get me a muscle car? and the rest is history, to the point where, like, he's out tagging this street. Like, and we're not in the greatest neighborhood, and he's tagging it. So we're flying it over, and we're filming and everything. And then the Mariners had just won. So these fireworks started going off, just serendipitously.
Which doesn't happen often. So you have no idea how lucky you were that happened.
I know. So it was all like, it was just so much fun. You know, I felt like it just felt so wide open. And so creative, and to be so involved in the creative process, because I really love being involved in the creative process, like heavily. So that was my first taste of how creatively responsible I could be for my vision coming to life on screen here.
For those people listening in who don't live in the Pacific Northwest, Everett is not close to Seattle. So
with
traffic,
we'll know that in a couple of weeks, by the way, because we are actually going to be in Everett, Washington, May 15th for Dynamite.
Yeah, they wanted to get me out of sight, so there was no possibilities, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Although
No,
I
it's
ended up in
one of those things.
One restaurant, and the guy goes, "Hey, what are you doing here?" I was like, "Man, I went out to eat once. I just
Why
wanted
you got a
nice
DoorDash?
meal."
Yeah, I remember that day just because like I'm already in my hometown. I'm excited. It's just a phenomenal day. Will's already tried to hint at me that you're coming, and I totally missed it because I'm dense. But I remember a couple weeks before doing the math of like, okay, he left this date, and then if I count, oh, that's October 1st. Oh boy. And I had no idea. And
I
I'm
left
sitting
her with
there
the
and,
silliest hint, by the way, too, because
oh my God.
and she didn't catch it at all because I'm like, I
No.
wasn't gonna give it away. I wasn't gonna do anything. But it was like, she goes, so what are we doing at Wrestle Dream? And I was like, you think you know? And I like walked off, and she did not catch that.
I didn't
whatsoever.
catch it.
Dude, well, I mean, if you think you know me, I mean, maybe, but
I think it's the one word.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it was great too. And you know, it's funny you talked about the meaning of that song to you, by the way, because like it's weird in my head. It's hard to believe it's been 20 years, but that's still like the new Edge music to me, right? Because you know that's like in my head. Like I remember it vividly. It was Christian Cage versus Hurricane, and you had interrupted to promote the book.
To promote my book, yes.
Yeah, to promote the book, and you showed up with new music, and
I wonder why Christian hates me.
Yeah.
Literally debuted new music in the middle of his match.
Yeah.
So, like I said, it has stuck with me for forever, but it still in my head feels like the newer song. But you've had it. It's a song that everybody associates with your career. We just saw in Toronto, the audience singing along with it.
Oh my God.
It's great.
Yeah, it's taken on a life of its own, which is so cool. You know, it's so fun to have it be that interactive, I guess, and for me to connect with something, and it feels like people over the years have really kind of actually paid attention to the lyrics and went, oh wow. And it almost feels like each incarnation and each new chapter that happens, it almost fits even more. Like it's grown with me. And I've always said, to me, music is one of the most important aspects of your presentation. It really is, because it sets the tone, it sets the mood, it causes the explosion, it causes whatever that explosion is, negative or positive. To me, it starts everything, because the minute you come through and your first scene, that's when the presentation starts. That's when your package is being, shown to the world and what you want to put out there. So it starts with the music. And I just think of when I was a kid and when certain guys or girls' music would hit, and I'd be like, oh, okay, it's on. And so it's always been very important to me. I've always been very hands-on with the music, with the visuals, and really the whole presentation.
I love it. It's one of those things, like, it's such a part of you and who you are as a wrestler and the history that we've seen for so long. But now you're Adam Copeland at AEW. So you get to bring this part of you with you. But what has sort of been your favorite part of discovering who you are in the AEW space?
It just, more than anything, I never introduced myself as any other name besides Adam. If I meet somebody, hey, Adam, nice to meet you. I've played a bunch of different characters. One I just happened to play for a long time that people are really used to. This is, I guess, even since I came back, at the Rumble there years ago, this has been the closest to Adam that I've been. There's not a huge difference between the character you see on TV and the person. Obviously ramped up. I don't run around attacking people in the streets, but
we know of.
Sorry?
That we know of.
Yeah, that I've been charged for anyway. But more than anything, it's just, the story. My story. Everybody knows the surgeries. Everybody knows the injuries. So kind of once you know that, and once I guess the curtain's been peeled back on everything that I went through to get this back, it's much closer to me and the actual person and the father and the partner, and than it is, when it was this mysterious, enigmatic character or something. It's pretty much just me now. except I'll wear a leather vest instead of a flannel.
Well, and the you we're getting to know is the current reigning and defending TNT champion.
Yes.
Which is a title that has, in its existence in AEW, pretty much since it was introduced in 2020, has been a title really associated with kind of that open challenge format, the idea that anything can happen when this title is on the line. And so far with you've kind of really brought that back to what people were really excited about with that championship. It was a championship that introduced us to Eddie Kingston. It was a title that introduced us to Ricky Starks. And now it's a title where you got to just recently have a match with Matt Cardona.
Oh my God.
And so I want to talk about kind of what being the TNT champion, what does that mean to you? And what are you expecting to continue on with this reign?
I think Jay really, really put some onus back on that championship. Really made it feel like must-see television, and I want to continue that. But I thought I need to continue it in a different way. So in between having my 2 title reigns, I thought the Cope Open would be cool to earn the shot back, but also kind of open the door to it could be anybody. And that means it's Suzuki 1 week, it's Griff Garrison, it's Lee Moriarty, it's Dante Martin, it's Daniel Garcia, it's Matt Cardona. I don't know. That's really fun to me. It's also fun as a performer to go, those are all completely different styles. Like there is not one guy out of that is similar. That's really cool. Because I love trying to put on, a different hat for each opponent. Because I've always tried to challenge myself to go, okay, right. If I'm wrestling this guy, I can adapt. If I'm wrestling this guy, I can adapt. And that's a really fun challenge though, because sometimes maybe you don't adapt. But it's fun to find out. It just so happens you're finding out on live television. So that can be a bit of a pressure cooker, but it's just a lot of fun. It really is. And it feels like all bets are off. Like anybody could show up. So look at a free agent and it's a possibility because trust me, I'm looking at them and I'm going, I've already done all my homework. So, and that's really, really fun just to keep people on their toes. And if you see, a Cope segment, who knows who's going to show up. I think that's fun.
And I think that's the part that makes this entire run of yours in the existence of it feel so surreal, right? Like I thought about it the moment Suzuki was having his entrance and I was like, God, if you had told 2018 me that Adam Copeland was going to be wrestling here and not just be wrestling here, but he's going to be wrestling Minoru Suzuki on AEW Dynamite. Like, it wouldn't have computed to me. It wouldn't have even made sense. None of this sounds right whatsoever, but here it is happening, and it's entirely possible. And it made me feel grateful. It made me feel like this is a really cool thing that's happening.
I mean, multiple fronts. There was no AEW. I was retired.
Yeah.
Just the possibility was like I said, when I was forced to retire, I was told that was it. You are done. There is no coming back. So for me, the ship had sailed, and it wasn't like on the horizon. It was long gone, like 9 years. It's not like it was 2 years. It's not like it was 3 years or 4 years or 5 years or like we're almost a decade into retirement, right?
Yeah.
So that was that. It just all of this has been such a second act, I guess, really. And what's been really fun about it is that I feel like I brought back more mentally with me. And, physically, I might not be able to do some of the things my brain wants to tell me, but I feel like because of my experience, but not just experience in the ring, more my life experience now, raising kids, going through that type of injury, and then turning to acting and doing, like 100 episodes of television while I was retired. That really helped me bring some different tools into my bat belt, my utility belt to bring back with me. That's been really fun to explore. And it's almost made me enjoy the art of the promo more than the matches at times, realizing the importance of that and what a storytelling tool that we have at our disposal if we can try and really master this thing. And there's no fully mastering it, but getting as close as you can and finding your voice in it, I think is really, really important. And what's been really fun too is just sitting down with younger talent and if they want to pick my brain, I've told everybody I'm wide open. I am here. Here's my number. It might take me a day or two, because kids, life, dogs, all that stuff, but I'll get to it and I'll watch it. And then we can sit down and peel it apart together. And that's a really fun process, just to see light bulbs start to go off for people. Go, ooh, okay, I'll try that. Hey, and it might not work for them, but give it a shot and see if it works for you. This has worked for me.
Man, I love Adam Copeland. He's like freaking everyone's dad. I'm so glad I pulled the card. I miss him so much. I can't wait for him to get back. And that conversation with him was absolutely incredible. Definitely go back, listen to the whole episode. But we've got more coming up. We had an awesome conversation with Will Ospreay, who this year became All Elite and had multiple memorable Match of the Year contenders. And we'll be talking to him coming up after the break.
AEW Unrestricted. Aubrey Edwards is there. Will Washington's here, but most importantly, Will Ospreay is here, and we're talking about all things. We're talking about his journey to AEW, his arrival in AEW, and I want to touch on something that you kind of finished the last segment with, which is Revolution with Takeshita, that you came in and had an incredible match with one of the best performers that AEW has, and one that I think everybody kind of knew. Like literally, as we're putting the card together, everybody's talking about, please don't make me follow Will Ospreay and Takeshita, because they all knew.
It was literally the question of the day. Every match I had was like, I'm not after Will and Takeshita, right? It's like, nope, you're good.
Yeah. Nobody wanted to follow you guys because everybody knew what was going to happen. I had a friend at that show. I want to tell the story really quick. Shout out to my friend Heidi. But Heidi's fairly new to professional wrestling as a whole. Not only did she not know who Will Ospreay was, she didn't know who Konosuke Takeshita was. She didn't know who half the roster was. She was really just there because her friends dragged her to see Sting's final match. But when she came away from that show with her first real wrestling experience, the only thing she could talk about was how awesome Will Ospreay and Konosuke Takeshita was.
Yes.
And so just the idea that somebody could see this for the first time and experience that. What is that like? What is that? What goes into creating something like that?
The person that I'm in the ring opposite, listen, I could wrestle a broomstick if you want me to. I don't think it'll be that good. I could do
It'd
my
still be
best.
Match of the Year.
Yeah, I'll give it a great Oscar. It'll flip me suck, but I'll do my best. But there's the guy that I'm opposite with is dude, it's Takeshita. I've been a fan of his for ages. First time I saw him was 2019 over in DDT. And straight away I knew it. I was just this guy is incredible. He's one of the best wrestlers that I've ever seen. I've been a fan of him since. I just never thought we'd ever wrestle one another. It was only when AEW came in and they got him and we started working together within the Callis family. I was like, this is great, but the only way we're going to get better is if we test each other, if we wrestle one another. And obviously that idea was thrown around for my debut. I just couldn't think of a better way to debut because it was just all right, 25 minutes, what you got? And it was just you ain't seen nothing yet, bro.
Oh
I just went out there with him, and I just think it was just a shake hands afterwards, and just whatever happens. But fuck me, my arse after that match, mate. I will say it till the cows come home. That is the most painful thing that has ever happened to me in a match ever. But not enough to stop the match, but just my arse was hurting so much. It was flipping blue afterwards. And but for me, having all that reaction, having all that expectation, delivering, even in the pain that I was in, going backstage, having this giant ice pack and this weird drink that looked like piss, and I'm
The electrolytes, yep.
The electrolytes, yeah.
But they're so lovely, actually. And then laying on the flipping table. I was laying on the table, I was just crying, my arse hurts so much. And then I felt someone grab my hand and he went, Mr. Ospreay. And I looked up and it was Ric Flair. I was like, stand back up again, agony, my arse is killing me. And being yes, sir. And he was just you're everything you've said and more. And I was like,
I felt that for you in that moment. And I remember thinking, because I was sitting at go position next to Sanjay, who was the producer on that match. And we were talking about the fact that, this coming Wednesday, it's going to be Kyle Fletcher versus Will Ospreay. And, we're all talking about, man, this match was already in full gear. We're like, man, him and Kyle are going to kill it this Wednesday. And as soon as that hit, I remember thinking, oh, there's no fucking way. There's no way that this man is going to wrestle Kyle Fletcher
He ain't gonna be cleared
on Wednesday.
You have no idea, mate. You have no idea. I can cut my arm off. I go, it's just a flesh wound. Send me out there.
The worst part is that like I actually believe that. I've seen enough of Will Ospreay in person to know that you could cut his arm off. He'll still wrestle next week, and he'll put on a banger match of the year, whatever.
I'm cooked, mate. Like I just think, what's the worst that happened? Like, what, you're gonna damage more of my brain? Well, there's no sense, there's no feeling, bro.
We've already established you're not the smartest guy, and you had to dumb down your promos for Japan.
Thick as shit, mate. But great wrestler.
Fantastic wrestler. Speaking of which, so it's for those that have ever even heard of Assassin's Creed, it's very clear that you have this. It has a large influence on you with the cape, the hidden blade being your finishing move, all of these things. How has this game had an impact on you as a wrestler, as a person? Because I love hearing when someone has a game that like means that much to them.
When we were training, so my trainers were Greg Burridge and Gary Van Horn, two UK wrestlers. They would promote Lucha Britannia, which is more of a cabaret show than a wrestling show. It was a cabaret show that featured wrestling. And they would open a training school, and when you graduate, they would just give you a gimmick. So like one kid got graduated and it was just like, okay, you're the Silver Lizard. And they go, well, what does the Silver Lizard do? And they go, oh no, you fucking figure it out. Like, yep. So then my gimmick was like Dark Britannico. And, but then like people wanted to know who the guy was underneath the mask. And once again, I looked like a geezer that works in Tesco. So they were like, you need something about you. And like, I remember getting like a game, it was Assassin's Creed Revelations. Like after talking about it so much, I had to like rethink with it. But I got Assassin's Creed Revelations, and the good thing about that game is that was the third or the fourth installment of the games. Mm-hmm. But
this is the fourth.
This game is the fourth, right? So, but this game harkened back to the two other games. Mm-hmm. So by the time I finished playing this game, I was like, I'm going to go play it from the beginning now. So then I played it, and then I was fascinated with Ezio. I was mesmerized by the way that he moved, the hidden blades, the parkour. Like in England, like parkour was like huge at one point, and me and my friends would travel up to London, and we would like jump off of buildings and climb up shit and film ourselves doing it. So I had like a real connection with it there. So then to have a video game where it was almost like a superhero, but it wasn't a superhero, and it was the Hood. And AJ Styles is my favorite wrestler. So I was just like, oh, the Hood, like everything connected. So I was just like, I am Assassin's Creed. And like I went out on the Hoods, and like the whole method behind it was Greg was just like, do you want to come do this interview? So like the whole method behind it was just like you have 6 seconds to win a crowd over. The moment you walk through a curtain, you've got 6 seconds to really be like a part of it and to really get their attention. So I came in with that Hood, and people understood, oh, he's the Assassin's Creed. Oh, like I get it. Okay, let's go with it. Let's rock and roll. So that's the reason why I wanted to like go down that route.
God, I love it. It's so
And by the way, for anybody who's gonna like tweet at me and correct me, I know that Assassin's Creed Revelations is technically not part of the numbered series, but it was the 4th game released, but it's technically not officially numbered.
Yeah,
I know that.
It's 1, 2, Brotherhood, Revelations.
And that's a wrap on 2024. Thanks to everyone for supporting AEW Unrestricted. 2025 is going to be incredible. So make sure that you follow AEW Unrestricted wherever you get your podcast. And check out video episodes on YouTube. Just search AEW Unrestricted. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. AEW Unrestricted is sponsored in part by Upper Deck. Collect your favorite wrestlers in 2024 Upper Deck AEW and start your trading card collection today. Unwrap autograph, memorabilia, and premium tech inserts and visit upperdeck.com to learn more. And don't forget, AEW Dynamite on TBS Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. AEW Rampage on TNT Friday at 10 p.m. AEW Collision live every Saturday on TNT. And starting next week, we are live, the mother of all simulcasts on Max. Do not miss it. It's going to be incredible. January 1st, AEW Dynamite is live both on TBS and Max. And you can catch ROH every Thursday on Honor Club. Otherwise, folks, I'm Will Washington. She is Aubrey Edwards. Happy New Year. We'll see you next time. Have a great night. Thanks for listening.
Bye.